Hello, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, glad to see your face.
Yes. I'm Sarah. I'm the clinician on the case.
Yep, I did get your email. I have everything printed up. The big St. Mary's packet, it's taking me a little while because I'm putting a lot of detail in and adding as much information as I can. The smaller
Perfect.
Ohio evaluation I have completed, and I can send that back in PDF format sooner if you want.
Yeah, if you could, that would be great.
Okay, do you want me to do that right now while we wait, or are we almost ready to go?
I think we're almost ready to go because
Okay.
Lizette is joining right now.
Okay.
If you have it printed and if you have a fax and it's easier to fax, I can give you the fax number too.
Oh no, it got a printer right here. Scan straight to the computer. Forward to you an
Okay.
email. All electronic.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you for getting those done.
No problem. That other bigger packet's going to take me a little while. I might not get that out to you until later tonight, but I want to make
That's
sure
fine.
I answer everything, get all the details that I can. Some of the details have actually been kept from me, and I'm trying to follow up with providers to see if
Okay.
Rebecca's still with them.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
And if you could get a witness signature, like if Mary
You want
can sign it or anything.
Certified?
No, nope, just someone else to sign it.
Oh, okay. My wife is fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
It
right.
doesn't need to be notarized. It doesn't. We just need to be like, yeah, someone else signed it, and it's not just like someone like forging your signature or anything.
Oh, okay.
So it's just more of like a double protection kind of thing for
Okay.
you. Yeah. So, but yeah, thank you for getting those done.
No problem. I wish I had seen them sooner. I didn't check my email yesterday. It seemed like everybody was in limbo yesterday.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. I know it's been a crazy week, so yeah, no worries. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
All right, are we on video or just chat?
Video.
Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
Can you hear
me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you and see you.
Okay, good.
We had Rebecca on for a minute, but then I think we lost her. So I don't know if we want to wait or if we want to give her another minute to see if she'll join.
I don't mind waiting another minute.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can fix this too while she's...
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can hear you and see you, Lizetta.
It's a little bit broken up. Everybody's coming through a bit broken up.
You guys are clear on my end.
Yeah, I don't know. I can hear like an echo. I don't know. Sometimes the internet isn't always great. Let me see if Rebecca's actually.
Oh, that's better. Okay.
Lizetta, if you want to start when you're ready, just let us know because I don't know if Rebecca's going to join or Patty. I know Rebecca was just on, but we lost her. And I'm reaching out to Patty now to see if she's going to join.
I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to refill my water.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can hear me on, because I have to use my phone as my microphone for some reason.
I can hear you.
Okay. I'll wait till Dad is back out. Please. I don't know why I'm doing it like that. Okay. All right. So you want to begin with that, Rebecca?
I don't know if she's going to be able to join some of this meeting because of school. I don't know if she's going to be back in time. We might have to do another one with her present. Hi, Patty.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late. Hi, Dave. Hi, Kimberly. I'm Patty.
Hello.
Hi, Lizetta.
Hi,
Patty
Patty.
Murphy.
Patty, you want me to start, or do you want to start?
Sure. So, Dave and Kimberly, I haven't talked with you yet. I'm Sarah's supervisor and the clinical director at St. Mary's. And Dave, we've talked a few times on the phone. I just wanted to have this meeting to kind of clarify, because it is an unusual situation. We have Rebecca here, and I just want to clarify some things that Kimberly and Dave have joint custody of Rebecca. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so both of you equally have rights to her. You both signed for her.
Yep.
You're both on her medical record. I just wanted to talk in terms of like what is our end goal here in terms of where is Rebecca going from Hills? Is she going home with mom? Dad? I'm not sure.
Who's weighing in first?
Lizetta?
I was gonna say, so I actually just got a bunch of emails for referrals for Rebecca for different programs she can go to from St. Mary's. As of right now, we're not looking to place her with mom. She's refusing to go live with mom, so we're looking at different options. And I actually just got.
I'm gonna stop you for a sec. I'm just gonna mute. Can we just all mute? Because I can't hear you.
Somebody has speakers going. That's a reverb.
Sorry, you want me to start over?
No, you're good now.
Okay. So as of right now, when she leaves St. Mary's, we're not looking to have her go straight to mom's because she's refusing to go live with mom. So I actually just got a bunch of emails for different referrals to different programs that she can go to from St. Mary's that we'll start sending referrals to and calling to set up interviews. But as of right now, I know she's refusing to go to mom's house, so that's not an option, and we are looking at placement options. And I've had that discussion with Kimberly. I mean, I think we are all on the same page that she's refusing to go there as of right now. And just looking into different placement options for her from St. Mary's.
All right, may I weigh in? My end goal is that Rebecca returns here. Prior to the botched hearing here in Texas, she was thriving and doing well despite all of the shenanigans. The end goal for me, I'm getting echo. Does somebody have a speaker? Okay, I'll just work through it.
I
Was
think if
to get her
everybody
into
could go-
therapy with
I'm
somebody.
Sorry, Dave, my apologies. If everybody could go on mute while Dave is talking, I think it'll stop the speaker issue.
Okay. Better. End goal is Rebecca return here. I want Rebecca in therapy with a qualified counselor to talk through her issues and eventually begin reunification therapy with her mom, if that is what Rebecca and the therapist determine. Now, if that's not a option with Lizetta, obviously, I think that's not an option. I'm pretty sure we can all agree that's not taking place. I do want Rebecca placed with a neutral third party. We've identified one. The alternative is I have tons of family that Rebecca could actually stay with down there as well that I would like to add to the list. But I do believe Rebecca going in with her best friend is actually the ideal situation. I found out that I actually do know these people, and I'm going to be full disclosure. The husband, Justin Wilmer, I went to school with. He was part of our geek squad, if you will. We all played D&D, a whole bunch of nerds. He was with me, Steve Passetti, Ryan Stanley, but I haven't seen him since I graduated in 1996. Did not know this. Turns out his wife, Monique Wilmer, she goes by Nikki, is related to Tony Gears, who was my direct supervisor while I worked at the group home agency called Perspectives. So Rebecca somehow randomly made this kid her best friend without knowing that we actually knew these people and that they knew us. I was at Perspectives when we went through a divorce, so a lot of the staff there, they remember me, they remember Kim. I believe they are a good neutral party, because I believe anybody that Kim recommends, I'm going to argue with, and anybody that I recommend, Kim's going to argue with. And this is Hannah. You know, Kim has brought and fostered a relationship between these two for years now, up until recently, and I have done the same. So if those people pass you guys' litmus test, whatever the heck you guys call it, I think she would be a good place to start, since her coming back to Texas is not an option right now, and neither is going into Mom's. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm definitely not comfortable with Hannah's house, and I've discussed that with Lizetta as well as the staff at St. Mary's. I am, I'm not comfortable with it. She has feelings for Hannah, and I don't think that is a suitable place for her to be if Hannah doesn't see, doesn't have the same feelings for her, where she would be in a situation where she'd be rejected, and where's she going to go because she's miserable.
May I weigh in?
And I've also told everyone that, either she comes home or she goes to Bradley or she's placed in some kind of clinical situation where she can get the intensive psychiatric help that she needs. I'm seeing signs of other psychological issues that I recognize from past behaviors of my nephew, and, this is not, right now, we haven't moved forward enough to be able to say what the next step would be. Family therapy has to take place, reunification, everything else. And, I think the fact that Becca's father did not foster a relationship between me and Becca while she was in Texas with him, regardless of the situation, whereas I was forced to do so throughout the course of these last 12 years since we got divorced. I think definitely not, I would not agree to her going back to Texas. And again, I have reservations about her going to Hannah's house, and, that's something we'll have to deal with as we go along.
I just wanted to say, when we spoke, Kimberly, on Friday, I believe it was, you said you were okay with Rebecca going to Hannah's as an option, and we, after talking to my supervisor, we did want to look into doing a clearance check on Hannah's parents and setting up a meeting just to meet with them. It would still be a process to get her placed there, but we are looking at that as possibly an option for Rebecca. Just wanted to, stay with that.
I understand that, but, we have time to think about these things.
I disagree.
And, I did speak with Sarah on Monday, and, I do have reservations about it. I have not had a conversation with Hannah's parents myself. Regardless of what they have heard from, Becca and her father, and possibly her stepmother, I have not had a conversation with them to see if I'm comfortable allowing that to happen.
Well, why haven't you reached out? You have their contact
DCYF's
information,
tenancy was
and you
delayed
took
on
Rebecca
my
there multiple
behalf,
times.
so I can keep my voice and advocate for my daughter and myself. So I'm going to say that I have reservations because I've had time to think about it, and I would prefer to have a direct conversation with them myself before allowing DCYF to go ahead with the, the process of screening them.
You're muted.
You're muted, Rebecca.
No, it's fine.
There, how's that? Do you hear me? Okay. I don't think Becca's going to meet criteria to be in a psychiatric inpatient setting, nor do I think that that is going to be the most helpful or therapeutic setting for her right now.
I agree.
I think it would be most helpful for her to be in as close to a family-like setting as possible, where she can work with you, Kimberly, and you, Dave, on kind of rebuilding your relationships between both of you and doing some family therapy. So that's my input onto placement. I think the longer that girls stay at Hills, the less ideal it is as well. And so there is a little bit of time of the essence here. Becca is a little bit different from the typical girls we have at Hills. Those girls tend to be a little more street smart, a little more into some things that we don't want her to get exposed to.
Rebecca, let's be honest. Everybody here, I think, can agree Rebecca doesn't belong there. She did not belong being imprisoned in juvenile detention down here. She did not belong being extradited back to Rhode Island and then subsequently institutionalized. This kid has never committed any crime. She's never done anything wrong. She's never run away from home. She's never really done anything out of the ordinary. This is a good kid who does not belong in this environment. I believe it is absolute paramount for us to actually get her.
This, right?
Excuse me. Please let me speak. I believe it's absolutely paramount.
You understand it was your actions that brought this about, right?
This was not my actions, Kim. Magistrate Newman. Right? Magistrate Newman warned you years ago that if you continued to do this, you were going to wake up one day and she was not going to be living in your house anymore. She went back last year.
I'm done. I'm done. Off the floor. Because
that's fine.
I'm done with you.
You gonna let me speak?
I don't need to listen to this.
Then don't.
No.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned,
No.
you only came here to be problematic. Rebecca does not belong in the environment that she's in right now. I agree with
And
you.
you don't have the
She
right
should
to
be
say that.
in a therapeutic environment. She should have a very good counselor. That counselor should probably be specialized in cognitive behavioral therapy. They should probably have some specialization in reunification therapy. It should be somebody who's well certified. Miss Katie did okay giving Rebecca a voice, but Miss Katie really didn't actually do a treatment plan for Rebecca, nor did she follow up with any of the reports from Dr. Maria Brusco. There was an entire report that Miss Katie was supposed to work on. She chose not to, instead just being an armchair, quarterback counselor, if you will. She did a good job teaching Rebecca.
Sorry. There's a reverberation or whatever going on.
Not mine.
There's a lot of echo. But I just wanted to second what Rebecca Parent just said. Is I think the best setting for Rebecca is a family setting of some sort, whether it be extended family or something other than congregate care.
I don't really want to duke it out over extended family. I've got almost 10 families that are willing to take Rebecca in right now, and I know Kim's going to object, and then I'm going to object to anybody she
without
suggests.
identifying anyone, a family environment is best for her, and
Yes.
not a congregate care setting. But I want to agree
Sarah?
with that.
Sarah wants to land.
I would absolutely have to agree with that, and especially just kind of to go off both what Rebecca and Patty are saying, like, I would be afraid that she'd pick up a lot of the behaviors that the Hills girls can exhibit at times. And she's at a vulnerable state right now, and I want to make sure she doesn't get those behaviors from the other girls from an extended period of time here.
Yeah.
So although we do have some time, at the same token, I would even kind of say, like, we might not, especially if she's in the environment. Like, unfortunately, when you're in an institution like a group home or a center, you pick up the behaviors because you're around the kids. So I would agree with a family setting, just due to the nature of Becca not even really having the behaviors of any of, like, the clinical settings or any of that, and just kind of keeping her in a family setting would be beneficial for those behaviors to not exist.
You don't want her tainted by the environment.
Yes.
Exactly. As far as Rebecca and her attraction to
as I said
Hannah.
on Monday, Sarah, when we spoke, whenever she comes home after being with her father, it does take some time for her to transition, but she always does well. Mm-hmm. So I am going to advocate that she come home. She doesn't belong anywhere else.
If I could, as I was saying earlier, elaborate on Kim's concern about Hannah. Rebecca's openly bi with a leaning towards females. She's already approached Hannah. That was when they were in school together prior to this situation going down. Hannah doesn't swing that way. It didn't affect their friendship in any way, shape, or form. So Rebecca doesn't really have those feelings for her. She cares about Hannah, but Rebecca is...
Not after what she told.
Sorry, can I please finish? Rebecca, all her friends, she's a very loving kid. I'm sure all of you can see that. She's a very loving kid, okay? She's not looking at these people for a relationship. They're her friends. When we were forced to leave New England, they became her support structure. Everything that was going on, everything that she had to deal with, they were the ones that she met with daily. I've met these kids. I was able to freely go back and forth between Rhode Island for over 3 years. My daughter was able to come here. I met several of them. They are old souls. They are good kids. I've never met kids before that were 16 to 18 years of age who were quoting the old school
I
Transformers and
think
Highlanders.
this is getting off the this is
The
getting
point
off
is,
track.
the point
We
that I'm
don't need to
making
listen
is
to this.
Hannah is not some
What we
kind of
need to
love
do-
relationship. Again, please let
What
me
we
finish.
need to do is
I'm being
have
cut off.
a plan going forward for family therapy and reunification therapy. If she clearly does not meet the guidelines anymore at St. Mary's, let's plan on getting her home, get her into a day program
She does
at
not belong with
Hasbro,
you at all.
or an afternoon program at Hasbro for the extensive psychiatric help that she needs due to being literally kidnapped for the last 3.5 months. I am done listening to all of his rantings about her friends and the people that he has that could take my daughter. My daughter belongs at home with me, and that's the end of it. I have a voice in this. I'm advocating for my daughter and for myself. I want to protect her from whatever the hell they did with her for the time that she was there. This would not have happened if she had been returned home when she was supposed to be, as court ordered. And this was premeditated.
Okay. Can I?
I would like to just say one thing, if I could.
Okay.
Our daughter. Thank you.
Okay. So, I understand that you two as parents don't agree on much of anything. But I think, it's going to be really hard. But I think it's important to put aside those differences and look at what's best for Becca, and also to take Becca's wishes into consideration, because I think she feels like she doesn't have a voice.
She doesn't.
Right now.
She's expressed that multiple times now.
And I don't think Kim. I think eventually, with family therapy, you're going to rebuild your relationship and it's going to be fine. But I think it's going to not work out the way that you want if she's made to come home against her wishes. And so that's why I was
allow me visitation on the weekends. Allow me to take her overnight, one night a week on the weekends.
No.
Well, I
Transition
think
her
we
back
need to
home.
talk to her and see if she's open to that right now.
Well,
I
yes,
think she
obviously.
wasn't willing to even go to a doctor's appointment with you or be in the car. So I think it's going to be a process, and that's what I'm saying. I don't want her languishing on the Hills unit while we work through this process.
The proper course of action for Rebecca.
That third party that both of you can agree on, or that Lisetta knows of, that she can kind of stay with temporarily, that would be great. And it can be someone that if you two can't agree on somebody, it might be someone that DCYF has to kind of vet from a pool of foster families. I don't know, that's not my area of expertise, but I just want her to feel validated and supported throughout this process. And I'm sure you all do.
My main concern is that these foster families follow the court orders. As of right now, I have no guarantee that Hannah's parents are going to follow the court orders.
They're going to be required by
There
law.
is a supervised contact order in place.
Which I have not violated.
Even he broke.
The one time Rebecca violated it, Lizetta was on the line. We acknowledged it, and Lizetta, you could weigh in and say, I told Rebecca not to break the rules. Do not contact me. Follow the rules. I believe, plain and simple, the most important thing for Rebecca right now is to get her into a stable, good household that meets her needs and can stabilize the environment for her. Then she needs to have a qualified therapist, a qualified one. I don't care from what state. Somebody who is actually really experienced in all of these areas where she can begin therapy and then, at her choosing, begin the reunification process. I have 2 motions before the court asking for a reunification process. They've never been addressed. This was called years ago. Magistrate Newman made very clear. If Kim didn't change her behavior, she was going to wake up and Rebecca was not going to be at her house anymore. I have that on audio recording because Magistrate Newman's courts are recorded. And I will be providing that as evidence. So
No.
that's what I'm saying
No.
she needs. She
No. He's lying.
comes
All
first.
of it.
She should trump all
No.
of us, me
It had nothing to
and
do
her
with
mom.
my behavior.
And I think you guys agree
I don't
that
think this is productive for either one of
I
you to
think
be
I'm
talking
done.
about this.
I think I'm done because I had said that I wanted a separate meeting and it couldn't be done. So this is where I am. But I have a voice and I'm advocating for my daughter's safety. And if I cannot speak with Hannah's parents myself
why haven't you reached out?
and guarantee
You have their information.
that
You know where they
follow
live.
the court orders, whatever they come out to be on the 17th even, then I don't agree with it. And you're right, neither one of us is going to agree with whomever we want to put her with. Because I don't trust anybody that he would leave her with. And he doesn't trust anybody that I would leave her with. This has been an issue for 10 years now. In and out of court because he can't let go. All he wants is control. So now I'm taking the control and I'm saying I am her mother and I'm going to advocate for her. And primarily, I want to see her transition back home. And if that means taking her home on a Friday night and bringing her back Saturday afternoon, then so be it.
No.
But I'm telling you, when she comes home, it will be difficult, but she will manage. She
No.
always has.
You two need extensive therapy to rebuild
Kimberly, I
this.
wanted to say that
If
Sarah.
this is not where she belongs, then let's make a plan to get her home.
Kim, you do realize that within the next 5
Kimberly.
months,
I wanted
Rebecca's
to
turning
say that
17
Sarah and I
and she
will
can
be
walk out.
discussing
I'm sorry,
her
Patty, what were you saying?
readiness to do family therapy with you. I'm going to sit down with Sarah and Becca and try to figure out, what her readiness is to do that, and try to make a plan.
We
from
all
there.
know that this boundary she has put up is not healthy. She
No,
is not
actually disagree.
emotionally mature enough to make the decision that she's making.
Who gave that assessment?
Give us a little bit of time. Give us some time, Kimberly.
Yeah,
work
who
with
gave
her.
that assessment, Kim? When did you become a
I am the
therapist?
only one that
What has taken
brought
place
her
is
everything
Rebecca
that
standing
she
up for
needs,
herself.
Make sure she's okay every day. I'm the only one that's done that. And I'm going to continue to do it.
I'm sorry, I disagree.
We'll work with her and see her readiness, Kimberly, to do some family work with you. And Dave, can you just clarify for me about somebody mentioned something about supervised contact. Can you
Right
explain
now,
that?
the only order, and I am filing a motion to vacate.
You're
the
on
only-
You're muted, Dave.
I'm muted. How am I muted? Who muted me? I did not realize somebody muted me. Right now, the only thing that's I just received the email 2 days ago. Attorney Clapham finally processed an leftover order from Judge Nike's court, but she has been replaced by Judge Glenn. I am filing the motion to vacate based on the fact that there's no grounds for it. The only thing I have is limited. My communications with Rebecca are supposed to be monitored by DCYF, but there are no grounds for any of this. I'm hoping to meet with Lizetta within the next day or two to help them clarify some of the breakdown in communication that's taken place. There will be a motion to vacate to have that removed. Other than that, apparently that has spread to me not being able to communicate with our educators, superintendents, counselors. There's been a lot of unforeseen things that are restricting me from being able to, even if I wanted to right now, I couldn't even request an IEP for Rebecca. And that was all based on a note since there's no active court orders. So it's only talking with Rebecca, and I have no problem with that. I got nothing to hide. I told Lizetta multiple times, I told her supervisor, record the conversations, do whatever you got to do. And I've told Rebecca that one time when she sent me that email, don't do that. Do not break the rules. Follow the rules. Listen to these people. Lizetta was on the line. She heard me correct Rebecca. And since then, there hasn't been any issues.
So our last court hearing the judge ordered all contact from Dad to Rebecca be supervised by DCYF. That was a court order. He gets 2 15-minute phone calls per week, supervised only by DCYF. No one else can supervise those. We also have 2 people, including myself, to me and another social worker, on the calls, so that there's a third party on the phone. That's just.
I want them there for supervising.
Also, there's nothing on our record that I've ever stated no contact with Dad to the school. I already said Mom and Dad have rights over Rebecca still, medically, educational. So if they want to call the school with any type of, he just can't call the school and talk with Rebecca.
I'm not trying to.
Always needs to be supervised by DCYF. I'm not sure where Dave has gotten this information from. I can clarify that with the school, and Dave, we can have a separate meeting with the school and go over that, because
they received a note from you guys that I am not permitted to call the school at all. I was on the phone not only with the superintendent's office, but another division that they had, and they said call DCYF. You're not allowed to speak to anybody. That was last Friday, around.
You received a note from who? I'm sorry.
DCYF. They cited you guys. I'm assuming it's a breakdown in communication, and if you're willing to call them and clear that up, that would be great.
Yeah, I would prefer you also be on the line, just so that, we could all be on the same page with that, because we're well aware that Kimberly and Dave still has rights over Rebecca. We do have temporary rights over and temporary custody over Rebecca, and we're just super on top of everything being supervised with Dad. I know she has her computer during school, and in our conversation, she mentioned emailing Dad. So we did have concerns with communication going on during school hours. I don't know if that's where the breakdown in communication was, Dave, but as far as our end, that was not anything ordered. The only thing that was court ordered was supervision for
technically speaking, your court-ordered supervision, your court-ordered monitoring of our calls is not even on the record yet. And I'm still complying despite the order that I received not being signed. And I did confirm with Cheryl and William, your order is not signed. Attorney Clapham dragged her feet. So everything you guys have been doing has been done without a court order, and despite that, I'm compliant.
You were in our court hearing.
It doesn't matter. If an order is not signed by a judge, it's not an actual order. That's the reality of the situation.
It's still on record. It's
Doesn't
still
matter.
on record from last year.
It has to be signed. Sorry, black and white. Law's pretty simple.
I'll have our legal team reach out to you or your attorney, and you guys can go from there. But
the attorney I have for Juvie has nothing to do with the family court order. In that matter, I'm still self-represented. So I will be filing a motion to vacate, but I can't do so until the order is actually signed. It's not a legal order without the judge's signature on it. And this has been an ongoing issue with Judge Nike's court. They drag their feet. They only supply orders. That's why Kim was here in Texas, trying to pick up Rebecca with a court order that wasn't signed.
Well, I'll look into it.
Yeah, it has to be signed.
It was indeed signed.
Yes, it was signed after the fact, but you were here with Huddle PD, and they were like, no, it's not a signed order. Bye. The orders have to be signed.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to supervise calls. Mm-hmm. You've been several court hearings with that being said by a judge. So as far as this whole meeting goes, too, I did want to be on the same page with Rebecca's medical needs, as far as I know she's on a strict diet. Mom doesn't agree, Dad wants it, the whole vitamin thing. I want to get to it's hard to tell St. Mary's exactly what to follow because of the differences you two have. So I just want to be on the same page with what Rebecca is taking for vitamins, what Rebecca's diet is. I do want an appointment scheduled, which I've talked to Kimberly recently about, to get her medically cleared in person. A lot of those medical releases were all virtual. She has not been seen by a doctor in person, has not gotten labs done in person. So I just want to be on somewhat of a thing of making sure she's getting everything she needs from her diet, vitamins. And I think Rebecca and Patty and Sarah also want to be on the same page about that. But that's been also very unclear, and it's hard to have custody to really decide what's going to happen. And I do want Rebecca to also, you know, be a part of that and have a say in that topic. So I don't know if you guys want to weigh in on that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that I don't know why there's such a feedback here, but
Everyone has to mute themselves.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rebecca, you have to unmute.
Rebecca, now you're muted.
I thought I had to mute myself. Okay, no, all right. Sorry. So she had an endocrinology appointment, and then now she has a pediatrics appointment. So nursing has said that they're unable to transport her around shift change. So if those appointments could be earlier in the day, they might be able to make arrangements to take her, but they do need some notice, at least 2 to 3 weeks notice to manage their schedule. Or if someone from DCYF can take her to the appointment, that would be great as well. The last conversation I had with her, she said she didn't want to go with you, Kim. That may have changed, but I just think it is important that she get to both of those appointments. And I can write up anything. She's not on any medications right now or any vitamins right now. And she is following, when she came in, she told us that she had allergies to gluten and to dairy. And so whenever a child tells us that, we automatically put them on a gluten-free, lactose-free diet. And then if she chooses not to follow it, we don't enforce it necessarily. But those are the meals that she gets from the kitchen. She is underweight, it looks like to me, and she's lost a couple of pounds since she was admitted. So I did have someone from nursing meet with her and go over what are some of her more preferred foods so that we can provide those through the kitchen, and also ask her if she wanted to get some Ensure supplements. They do make them that are gluten and lactose free if that's what she prefers as well. So that's where we are with medical appointments.
If I may, Rebecca has had a few complaints with St. Mary's, and it might be, she said, and Lizette was on the line with us at the time. One example that she gave was she was given grilled chicken, which is gluten and dairy free, but then they poured a bunch of mac and cheese onto the plate, which is the definition of gluten and dairy. And they wouldn't let her replace it, and she didn't want to eat it because it was cross-contaminated. So she's reported a couple times now that she's gone without eating. She was on the low end of the weight scale. I will look into and reach out to the experts that I utilize to make sure Ensure is okay. Even though it's gluten and dairy free, remember Rebecca has an MTHF genetic mutation that has COMT and VDR complications. So we got to be very careful with what it is that she does and doesn't take into her body, because some of it is considered a toxin. For example, basic B12 is a toxic in Rebecca's body. That's why she has to have the B12 methyl.
All right. So if you don't approve of her having Ensure, then we can just I'll take that off of the option, and we can supplement her with food as much as we can.
I'm not saying take her off the option. I just want an opportunity to make sure that it's okay and there isn't anything in there that she'll respond poorly to. There are a lot of things that she can have. It's just we've got to make sure that it doesn't have the wrong stuff.
Okay.
And I believe Sarah wanted to say something.
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of go off what you guys were talking about with like the food and different things. I think St. Mary's gets confused. Just when I was like on the unit the other day, they get confused with what diet Rebecca always wants to follow, because some days she'll want to be 100% gluten and dairy free, but then other days she'll sit there and have a bowl of cereal with milk. So I think, and I'm not surprised because she's a teenager. So, and it's like you said, Dave, it's very normal. So but I also do think they get confused about like, Rebecca, do you want to be gluten and dairy free, or do you not? Or do you want to be like a combination of both? Like, do you want to eat certain things but not like a pound of cheese on the chicken, which is fine. So I just wanted to add that in because I think they're a little bit confused confused because like one day she'll eat this and then the next day she won't, kind of thing. So I don't know if that's playing into Rebecca not eating.
I would not be surprised. That's normal for a 16-year-old to do.
Oh, absolutely. And then I just want to go back to the contact. I know we talked about a little bit about like dad having supervised contact, and my question is, if Rebecca is sitting here saying that she doesn't feel safe to get in a car with mom or go home with mom, like, and dad has supervised contact, like, should it be both if they both have like dual custody? And Rebecca sometimes voiced to me too, like, that might be an option. She might want to like kind of see like how it goes and just different things. I'm just throwing it out there, Lizetta. I don't know if that's something we're able to do. And if Rebecca 100% wants it. It seems like some days she does. Like even yesterday, like when mom tried to take her to the appointment, she was like, Sarah, will you come down? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like I don't have a problem doing that. So I don't know if that would be something we can explore.
So the supervised contact for dad was actually court ordered. The judge ordered it during our court hearing. It wasn't so much to do with their custody piece. It was, I mean, and Dave, I don't know if you want to weigh in on that, but it had to do with, I mean, his behavior that day on the court hearing. We had some concerns with Dave. That's why it was court ordered for Dave to be supervised. I did mention it to my supervisor about supervised contact with mom, and she actually thinks it's a good idea for like visits for us to be there just so I can document how it goes, and if I have concerns, if I don't have concerns with mom, I document it. It's not so much if mom were to call, I need to be on the phone. But if mom plans on visiting Rebecca, I'm okay with having them supervising them, at least until maybe we can have a few of them and then decide if we want to keep it that way. And if she's willing to do the visits with mom if I'm there, I also feel like that would be a good idea to maybe see if she's open to being around mom, because as of right now, I know she's been completely refusing to be around mom at all.
And I've agreed with the supervision.
Yeah.
I've agreed with the supervision. I don't have a problem with that.
I do. I believe it should be a therapeutic situation first. And right now, some of the things Rebecca's reporting about St. Mary's is problematic. She's reporting that she's being put on pause if she refuses to speak to her mom. That if she refuses to go and meet with her in the lobby, that mom is then escorted to Rebecca's door where they speak, and says she's crying herself to sleep and having all kinds of issues, and that she's being punished essentially for not, and this is just reported, Lizetta was there, for not being able to turn her mom away. This is really a therapeutic situation. She needs to be in with a therapist first and foremost. And I'll defer to Sarah, but I do want to come back to the court-ordered visitation.
Just to weigh in on that, Dave, I did speak with the staff yesterday because they wanted to implement that, and I said, no, absolutely not. We're not doing this. We're not putting her on pause because she won't go on the visit. I said, we're not doing that. If Rebecca doesn't feel safe, we're not forcing her to do anything. That's not happening. And I put my foot down. But what I did tell Rebecca is that if she refuses to go with DCYF, that would be kind of maybe a different story because she has to go to the medical appointments, and she's saying she wants it supervised by so-and-so, and if she goes with DCYF and she refuses to go then that might be a different story. I'm not saying it's 100% going to be, but if she refuses to go with mom, I already told them they're not putting her on pause. If Rebecca continues to report that, Dave, please do let me know, and I will speak to the staff, and I'll speak to Patty as well.
Okay. I believe there was a breakdown in communication. That's why it took place. She reported it, and if you've corrected it, that's awesome. Thank you.
I did for the medical appointment. I did not for anything else, but it even seems like we're going to do supervised visits by DCYF, so we won't even have to worry about that, about the pause. But if Rebecca does bring it up anymore, just feel free to give me a call, and I can try to figure out what was that incident and what their reasoning for doing something like that.
All right, I have your email now, so I'll forward anything. And I'll CC Lizetta and everybody, the whole team.
Yeah, absolutely. And then before you kind of branch off to that, I just want to finish the contact. I received a couple of things in the mail today. I'm able to give those to Rebecca, right?
From
Lizetta?
who?
That's my microphone. If you want to email, is it from Dad?
Yeah, Dad, Mary, and then somebody else that I don't know who it is.
If you could forward me the actual letter, and I can send it to Dad.
What was the name?
Yeah, I mean they're nothing bad. They're nothing bad. It's just positive. It's like a Halloween card and a postcard. It was nothing because I have to go through them before I give it to the kids. So it's literally a Halloween card from Mary and a postcard from Dad.
That's fine. I just have to document everything on our end.
I can send you a picture. Jessica.
That's fine.
Dave.
Jessica?
You're on mute, but I saw your lips.
Jessica, that might be one of her friends. It's hard to keep track of. She's got a bunch.
It's from Texas.
Maybe it's...
Cubstead?
Yeah, that's Jess and Mike. And their two kids are...
They have a kid that... Yeah, that's what it said, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, some of her friends from down here.
Yeah, okay. No, I figured it was. I just wanted to run it by Lizetta before I gave them to her.
Well,
but
I
I'll
told
send
anybody
her a
who's going to
picture.
send her anything, it's got to be monitored. Everything's got to go through, and she might not necessarily be able to respond. But, let her know that you guys are there for her.
No, absolutely. And once I give them to once I send a picture over to Lizetta, if I get the clearances to give them to her, I will. They were great, so.
Good. Cool.
Sarah, that sounds like a plan to me. And do you guys mail stuff back to people? Or is that...
Yeah, I received a letter from them.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you saw it. Did you not see it? Because we received a postcard.
No.
I will forward a copy of it to you. I'm sorry, Lizetta. I did not realize that was missed.
I just want to make sure everything's documented through our system so that, there's no issues in the future and everything just needs to be documented, that's all.
I agree.
Okay.
Court order visitation? I do disagree with it. Everything was found and that order was put into effect without any findings. The CPS worker, Nick Iadeva, was unable to complete his investigation of the entire situation, and in his own testimony was also unable to find any reason why Rebecca could not live with us. And that was working alongside the Texas CPS agent, Stephen... Names are my kryptonite, I can't remember, but I can give you guys his card if you guys want to interview or speak to him as well. I do believe the judge was retaliating. It's not often that an individual is not allowed to cross-examine. That's the whole reason why they give testimony, because you cannot cross-examine a report. The fact of the matter is a lot of the things that were spoken about to me were promulgated by Kim's attorney, Noel Clapham, and Kim, and none of them were actually found with any evidence. There's no hearing. There's no transcripts. There's literally Nick's testimony and then me being silenced and not being able to cross-examine. That's why I'm going to be filing the motion to vacate. Until then, I'm still going to cooperate with you guys. I'm not going to break the rules.
I really don't want to get too into case information right now, but as far as we do have court hearing November 29th, I know Kim has one at 11:15, yours is at 11:30 or vice versa. So I just recommend if at that court hearing, you can bring up supervised visitation with your attorney, or if you're advocating for yourself, that's totally fine. But as of right now, until then, it is going to continue to be supervised, which you seem like you're on board with. So just so we're clear, you can bring it up at our next court hearing. That's not until November 29th. But
my only objection to it is that it's so restrictive. Rebecca's allowed to receive 4 calls per day. And yet I only get 15 minutes, 4 calls per day, at, if I understand it, a half an hour limit. But I'm only given 15 minutes twice a week. And that kind of sucks. That's my big objection to it. But I'm not arguing with it. I don't think I've ever said, I don't want you on the line. I think I've been pretty cooperative when it comes to making sure you guys are doing what you're supposed to do and me doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't have any objections to that. It's just, it's a lousy situation.
And we'll meet in case plan together if we DCYF has discretion over that. So if we decide down the line, even before a court hearing, that it could be less restrictive, but it all comes down to case planning, what you're willing to case plan with us. And again, that can be, a whole separate discussion that we can have separately. But I just want to stay on track with this particular meeting with Rebecca and Patty and Sarah.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
I did want to weigh in on the diet because we started that, but we never actually did any input. So I do want Rebecca on the gluten and dairy free. I understand St. Mary's can't meet the vitamins, but I provided you guys with all of the documentation that says she should be having those, including the genetic reports and the advanced blood work. To warn you, if you're going to try to duplicate that blood work, it's $2,000 blood work. All right, I had to pay for that out of pocket. It was ordered by Dr. Becker and Dr. Ritz. I understand St. Mary's cannot meet those vitamin needs. If I can get you guys to agree to give them to her, I will pay for everything, send it down to you in sealed bottles, so there's no question as long as Lizetta and her supervisor and everybody else is on board. She really does need those vitamins. I do have empirical evidence. If you look at her not having those vitamins along with the diet, prior, her IQs in a school evaluation were between 85 and 95. After she was on the diet and with the vitamins, only half of the time, her IQs jumped back up to 125 to 135, and the evaluator could not explain why that difference took place. We can only assume that it affected the chemical imbalance that's brought on by COMT and VDR. When we were forced to leave Connecticut, the vitamins stopped, and then Rebecca's most recent IEP eval showed that her IQs were back down to 85, 95 range. I digress to Latella.
I just wanted to say, since Rebecca is under temporary custody of DCYF, she actually has state insurance right now. So I think if the money is an issue, it shouldn't be an issue.
Medicare and Medicaid will not cover these. They are strictly vitamins, and the methyl B12 one is very specific. It's not covered under any insurance.
So not for that. I want Rebecca. I actually think it's a good idea. I know Sarah or Rebecca said that they could possibly have nursing bring her to a medical appointment. I think if we can get one in sooner, I'll definitely be willing to bring Rebecca to get medically cleared and get whatever she needs done to really know exactly what she needs in her body before moving forward with any vitamins, because there was a lot listed. I think she hasn't been seen in person by a doctor since 2021.
No, she saw her PCP for a physical in May.
This past May. Okay.
The problem that we run into with that, Lizetta, and I believe it was Rebecca Parent can weigh in on it. If you go and just do basic blood work, you're not actually going to see the COMT, VDR, and the chemical imbalances. So I would have to contact Dr. Becker and get a write-up, a very specific write-up for you guys. Otherwise, you're going to be comparing apples to oranges, not apples to apples. The fact of the matter is none of these people are quacks. Dr. Jonathan Ritz is currently caring for the Olympic team in Jamaica and flying back and forth between Connecticut. Dr. Becker is an APRN who specializes in female reproductive systems and genetics, travels the country, and is a published author on these materials, and often helps Hasbro and Yale with their departments. All right, I have provided you guys with $2,500 to $3,000 worth of medical reports. I would ask that they be followed unless there's evidence to the contrary, because the longer she goes without these the vitamins, the quicker that brain fog creeps in and stays there. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks for it to go away, and that's what happened when she originally arrived here. Suddenly, at the end of a month, she's clearer thinking, all of the swelling and inflammation has gone away. She's following her diet and vitamins. I don't know what Rebecca wants to weigh in on, but I would ask that without an opposing doctor of equal level to Dr. Ritz, Dr. Becker, and Matt Altman, that we put that back into effect because they're just vitamins.
Okay, so what I want to say is that the specialists that have weighed in on these supplements for Rebecca are we don't really have anybody here who can duplicate their expertise. And so what I'm thinking might be the best course of action. So I discontinued everything because she came with bottles that were unmarked. So they were just bottles. They didn't have any physician or provider documentation with them. So they were bottles that looked like maybe you could buy them at a health food store or some kind of store that specialized in supplements. And we didn't really have any evidence to support their use. One of the vitamins was a vitamin A that was at very high levels, which is a fat-soluble vitamin. So,
if I may interject,
my limited training, where, I've been counseled that we don't give fat-soluble vitamins in, high doses.
if I may interject.
Can I just finish, please?
Sure,
So
yes.
I just wanted to, what I thought might be helpful. The other thing is, you both have joint custody, and so I felt like both of you needed to agree in order for us at St. Mary's to continue these supplements. What I think might be helpful is if we could get something, Dave, from you or, from one of the people that you've consulted with that lists the name of the supplement and in very basic layman's terms, what it is used for. And, I did read some of the reports, and they're way above my level of understanding.
I understand that.
Practice. And so what I'm thinking is maybe we can take, a very simple layman type of a document, and we can give it to DCYF for them to give to their medical team to weigh in on.
I will get on that immediately.
That might be the most fair way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll, what do you think about that, Lisette?
I will get on it immediately. In regards to the fat soluble, I did follow up with that because I know you expressed that concern. The bottle listed 25,000 units. 25,000 units is an international measurement. In the U.S., it's MCJ, and in the U.S., it's 7,500 units, which, according to the NIH and all of those other agencies, is within the tolerable limits for 14 to 18-year-olds. I can send you all of those links and all of that information. I understand that you were worried about, there's liver disorders that come along with that, all kinds of crazy things from overdosing on vitamin A. These people did not or would not overdose Rebecca on vitamin A.
Okay, so maybe maybe that just wasn't clear to me.
Those bottles are ridiculously confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
So I can get you all of that information.
Yeah, but, and also maybe just list the supplements in order of priority in terms of what is the most important to what is the least important, if there's a way to do that.
Okay, yeah. I believe, if I remember correctly, Dr. Becker said that they were all necessary to help balance out the CompT and VDR. And that as much as the MTHFR is inconveniencing Rebecca, those two are the worst aspect of it. I cannot explain CompT and VDR very well. There's a lot of chemical stuff. You yourself said it's above your pay grade. It's also above her primary care's pay grade, which is why they told me to go to more advanced people and actually get them the paperwork they needed.
Okay. I the suggestion is a great idea. I think I want, each vitamin to have the specific need for the vitamin and prioritize from, top to down or whatever, however you want it listed, but be very clear so that we all are on the same page with the vitamins. And I think there was about, there's a long list of vitamins that she's supposed to be taking. So it's important, I think, for all of us to be on the same page about what each vitamin's actually needed for, and for a provider to, if you have that written from a provider, to definitely send it to us. And then we can revisit this with Rebecca at St. Mary's and go from there. I think that is the fairest way to do it because, there's no agreement on it. And I do want Rebecca to get the vitamins she needs if she was taking these daily back in Texas. So it's really hard to just,
She's been taking these daily since long before I left New England. She had been on them for some time, and there had never been any objections or any stopping it or any counter evidence provided to the the contrary, if you will. So, and before I left New England, Rebecca was at my house. We had 50-50. She was over my house Wednesday, Thursday, and then every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it alternated. So she was able to get these vitamins at least half the time, and it made a difference. So I will get on getting this because you're right, I don't have it written out in layman's terms. So if a judge was to read that report, his head would hurt as much as mine does sometimes. But I will get on that immediately and try to get that to you within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Thank you, Dave.
My apologies. I have to go. I have someone at my door. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Kimberly and Dave.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye, Patty.
Thank you.
Rebecca, you're muted. I don't know if you were saying anything.
No, I just didn't know if there was anything else we wanted to address. I know we've been about an hour now.
Is there any way we can address what took place last Friday, Lizetta, with Rebecca being cut off from her friends and her outlet and the laptop? She is really feeling isolated and not being able to talk to the 5 people who have been probably the biggest supporters of her over the past year and a half. You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think we could end this meeting if Sarah, Kimberly, and Rebecca have nothing else to weigh in. As far as the computer goes, it's a whole different discussion. I am going to call you to do your supervised visit. So maybe if my supervisor is here, we can talk about that with her also on the phone before your visit with Rebecca via phone call.
I've also maintained open availability. 3 weeks ago, I requested to talk with you guys about these things. And I know you guys had sent out a separate email. So the next 2 days...
That happened Friday last week. So...
Yeah, I got the email from you that you guys want to meet with me separately now. Again, open availability. Let me know what you guys want to do and we can iron some of this out.
Yeah, I'm going to call you because I am doing your supervised visit with Rebecca anyway. So we can
I'm going
talk.
to sign off then. Thank
Lizetta,
you,
I just have
everybody.
one question for you.
Oh, yes.
No, Lizetta.
Oh.
You're good, Rebecca. Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi.
Does anyone else have anything?
No, and I'm I have to get back to work. I'm almost at the end of my day and I haven't gotten a lot accomplished.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Kimberly.
So what's that?
Oh, I thought you said, I'm sorry. I thought you said you had to go.
Well, I've been away from my desk for an hour and a half and I had a meeting before that. So, I don't mind
I'm all
taking the
set
time,
with
but this is a lot.
Yeah, no, we're all set. I just have a question for Lizetta if you need to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, I just plan on observing if I'm allowed to, unless you guys want me to leave.
I have a question that I need to ask Lizetta.
Is it just you two privately?
Yes, please.
Okay, well then, thank you, Sarah, and I will get the rest of that paperwork filled out. And Lizette, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Dave.
Where is how do I quit? Can you guys just kick me from this one? I don't see the X button.
I can.
Yeah, go ahead, kick me. I don't use this one very often.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.